Hello, my dears. Today I want to talk to you about a journey. A journey I've walked myself more times than I can count. It's the journey from tears to smiles, from despair to hope, from feeling like you're lost in the darkest night to discovering a glimmer of light. If you're feeling down, depressed, or anxious, I want you to know something. You're not alone, and there's a way through this. Let me pour you a cup of tea, and we'll settle in for a little heart-to-heart. I've got some stories to share, along with a few lessons I've learned along the way. A dark season in my life. There was a time in my life when I felt like I was drowning in sadness. It was after I lost my first baby. I don't talk about it often. It's not the kind of pain you bring up lightly. But for months after, I couldn't see my way forward. I was stuck in a cycle of grief and guilt, asking myself over and over, what did I do wrong? I remember one particular day when I just couldn't get out of bed. The sun was shining outside, the birds were chirping, and the world kept moving on without me. But inside, I felt like I was trapped in a storm I couldn't escape. Tom came in, sat on the edge of the bed, and held my hand. "Suzie," he said, "you don't have to do everything today. Just take one small step. Let's go sit on the porch together." It wasn't much, but it was enough. We sat on that porch for what felt like hours, watching the world go by. And little by little, I started to feel something shift. Lessons learned along the way. Looking back on that time, I can see the path that brought me from tears to smiles. It wasn't a straight line and it wasn't quick, but it taught me some powerful lessons about healing and finding joy again. Lesson 1. Let yourself feel. One of the hardest things about depression and anxiety is that we often try to fight against our emotions. We tell ourselves to snap out of it or just be happy, but that's not how it works. During that dark season, I learned to let myself feel the sadness. I cried when I needed to cry, talked to God when I needed to vent, and gave myself permission to grieve. It's like clearing out a closet. Sometimes you've got to pull everything out and make a mess before you can start to organize it again. Lesson 2. Find small joys. When you're in the middle of a storm, the idea of happiness can feel overwhelming, like trying to climb a mountain in a single step. But joy doesn't have to be big. Sometimes it's as simple as a warm cup of tea, a good book, or a hug from someone who loves you. I started keeping a little notebook where I'd write down one good thing each day. Some days it was just the sun was shining. Other days it was I made it through without crying. But over time, those little joys added up, and they reminded me that life was still worth living. Lesson 3. Lean on others. One of the biggest lies depression tells us is that we're alone. It whispers, nobody understands, nobody cares. But that's not true, my dear ones. During that tough time, I leaned heavily on Tom, my sister Carol, and my friend Maria. They couldn't fix everything, but they could sit with me, listen to me, and remind me that I was loved. And that made all the difference. Another story, Emma's struggles. Years later, I saw my granddaughter Emma go through her own battle with anxiety. She was in college, overwhelmed by classes, friendships, and the pressure to succeed. One night she called me in tears. "Grandma," she said, "I feel like I'm failing at everything. I don't even know who I am anymore." I listened as she poured her heart out, and when she was done I said, "Emma, do you remember the story of the disciples in the boat during the storm?" She sniffled and said, "Kind of." "Well," I said, "they were terrified. The waves were crashing, and they thought they were going to drown. But Jesus was right there with them, sleeping peacefully. When they finally woke him up, he calmed the storm and said, 'Why are you afraid? Do you still have no faith?'" Emma was quiet for a moment, and then she said, "So you're saying I should just trust him?" "Not just trust," I said. "Lean on him. Cry out to him. Let him be your strength when you don't have any left. You're not in this storm alone." Practical steps for finding joy again. If you're feeling lost, here are a few simple steps that can help you start moving from tears to smiles. 1. Talk to someone. Whether it's a friend, a family member, or a counselor, don't keep your feelings bottled up. Sharing your burden can make it feel lighter. 2. Take it one day at a time. When life feels overwhelming, focus on just getting through today. Tomorrow will take care of itself. 3. Find a creative outlet. Sometimes expressing yourself through art, writing, or music can help you process your emotions and find a sense of peace. 4. Spend time in nature. There's something healing about being outdoors. Take a walk, sit under a tree, or listen to the birds. 5. Pray or meditate. Even a simple prayer like "Lord, help me" can bring comfort and clarity. A closing thought. My dear ones, life is full of storms, but it's also full of sunshine. You may be in a season of tears right now, but I promise you smiles are still possible. You are stronger than you think, and you are never alone. Not with the love of those around you and the unshakable love of the one who made you. So take heart. Take one small step. And remember, the journey from tears to smiles begins with a single moment of hope. With all my love, Grandma Suzie. Thank you, my dears, for spending this time with me. Remember, life's journey is better when we walk it together. If these stories and reflections warmed your heart, be sure to subscribe and join me for more wisdom, comfort, and a little sprinkle of joy. Together, let's keep growing one story at a time. Until next time, stay safe, stay hopeful, and remember, you're never alone. Grandma loves you.